All right, today we're building a blueprint, but not for a house, for a business's future. We're diving into something called financial projections. And let me tell you, it's one of the most powerful tools a company has to map out its journey from where it is today to where it's headed tomorrow. So let's just jump right in with the big question, okay? Can a business truly predict its future? Let's just jump right in with the big question, okay? Can a business truly predict its future? I mean, really, can they know what's going to happen next year or in 5 years? In a world that's always changing, so full of uncertainty, is it even possible to predict what's coming? Well, the answer isn't some magic crystal ball, but it's probably the next best thing, a financial projection. Just think of it as an educated forecast. And those are the key words right there, educated and forecast. This isn't just some wild guess. Nope, it's a strategic calculation, and it's all based on what a company already knows from its own data. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the whole idea of forecasting the financial future. Then, we'll cover the two main steps. First, analyzing the past, and second, projecting forward. And finally, we'll talk about why any of this even matters, the real purpose behind these projections. So how do we even start forecasting? Well, funnily enough, the journey to the future, it actually begins by looking backward. And that brings us to our first big step, analyzing the past. It sounds simple, but it's a really profound idea. If you want to have any hope of seeing where you're going, you first have to get a rock-solid grasp on where you've been. This is, without a doubt, the bedrock of any good financial model. Okay, so to really analyze the past, we need to find its building blocks, right? First up, we're looking at historic ratios. Things like profit margins. They tell us how efficiently the business has been operating. Then we hunt for key trends. Is revenue climbing steadily, or is it all over the place? And finally, we have to isolate the crucial variables. Those specific things like the cost of raw materials or how much is spent on marketing that have the biggest impact on the bottom line. And here's a super simple example of what a trend actually looks like in the real world. This table just shows a company's revenue growth over 3 years. And you'll notice it's not a perfect straight line, is it? It went up, then it dipped a little. That pattern, that tells a story. And understanding that story is the absolute first step to being able to write the next chapter. Which naturally brings us to step 2, projecting forward. Okay, so we've gathered all our building blocks from the past. We've got our ratios, our trends, our variables. Now it's time to put all those pieces together and actually construct that blueprint for the future. Now, this whole process isn't random at all. It follows a very clear set of steps. First, you have to form your core assumptions, and these are based on all that historical analysis we just did. And honestly, this is a critical moment. You have to be careful not to be too optimistic. You might assume, say, that revenue will grow by 6% next year. Cool. From there, you build the projected income statement. That statement then links to and informs the balance sheet, which finally lets you create the cash flow statement. See how that works? Each piece logically flows right into the next. Okay, so we've spent some time on the how, right? But that brings us to what might be the most important question of all. Why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, this next part is all about the purpose of these projections and why this financial blueprint is so incredibly important. The difference between a business that has projections and one that doesn't, it's literally like night and day. Think about it. A business with projections, it has strategic clarity, it can walk into a meeting with investors and lay out a confident plan, where every single big decision is backed up by data. And a business without them? Well, you're basically operating on guesswork. You're taking on all this unmeasured risk, and you are almost certainly leaving huge opportunities on the table. And I think this next quote just captures the whole idea perfectly. It's that financial projections are the bridge between a company's past performance and its future potential. They literally take the solid ground of what's already happened and connect it to the horizon of what could happen. It's the link between what a company is and everything it could possibly become. So if there's one crucial point to take away from all this, it's this. We have to let go of the idea that this is about being perfect. This whole process, it's not about creating a flawless crystal ball prediction of the future. It's about making a smarter, more informed plan to navigate whatever that future holds. It's a map, it's not a prophecy. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. And this applies whether you're talking about a business, a project, or hey, even your own personal finances. If you were to really look back at the data, what story do your numbers want to tell about the future?